Hey, Fixer for Fitness, and those of you who follow my nutrition page, Gwyneth Bradshaw RD. I am here to talk about our FAQ Friday that we normally do for Fixer for Fitness. And today, the question is, I'm new to healthy eating. Where do I even start? This is a great question, and we actually get it all the time. Just people who want to make a difference in their diet, but the information on the internet is overwhelming, or there's just like no, I, they don't have guidance on where to start, and so they just don't make any changes because they're not sure how best to do that. Um, I'm doing this differently today, and oh, okay, good. I wanted to make sure that I could still see comments and stuff. So, hi, Meredith. I'm glad you're here. Um, so basically, I just wanted to walk through 3 different points on how to get started if you're trying to make some nutritional changes in your life. Maybe you see this time as a great time to start, trying new recipes or trying to, make a change in your diet, especially if you're not um, able to exercise the same. It's a good time to kind of clean up your diet if you need to. So, the first thing that I like to do with my clients when we are just meeting for the first time, we do some sort of recall or look at a food log or something like that, just to see if there are any blaring nutrient deficiencies. These could be micronutrient deficiencies, which would be things like vitamins and minerals. Or more commonly, it could be a macronutrient deficiency. And a macronutrient, oh, stay on this page. A macronutrient is a protein, a fat, a carb, or water. And so you could be deficient in either of those. Micronutrient deficiencies aren't super common in the United States because our food is generally fortified with things that people would be more commonly deficient in. But there are just, rare cases, or if you have other health disorders, there are instances where you might be deficient in a certain micronutrient. It's common that people, once we kind of do a food diet analysis, we see bigger macronutrient deficiencies. If you're consistently eating less protein than you need to, or if you're not consuming adequate water and things like that. But we can see those things with a dietitian. Now, using a dietitian is really important when it comes to things like this, and I'll tell you why. We talked about how micronutrient deficiencies are uncommon unless you have other health conditions. But there are people on Facebook or in your life that might have a product, or maybe you talk to the guy at GNC and he says that you definitely need this supplement or this and this. So it's important to talk to a dietitian because you can be easily led astray when it comes to things like that. Want to use a dietitian for is because there are some diets that recommend cutting out macronutrients, like cutting out all fat or finding a really, really low fat diet, or more commonly, cutting out all carbohydrates and using a really, really low carb diet. And neither of those things are beneficial for you or good. And so I would recommend just person to person, friend to friend, using a dietitian at minimum for this beginning part when you're looking at your whole diet, seeing if there's anything you're missing out of. Ooh, I did go there. I'm bringing it real for you guys. There are people that might benefit from selling you something, or maybe they had a great success using this diet, but healthy diets have protein and carbs and fat. And then we can look and see, if there's other micronutrients that you might be deficient in. Okay, so that's my first point, just kind of a blanket statement. Let's make sure that you're not missing any big parts of your diet first off. But then when it comes to making a dietary change, the next step is then choosing 1 to 2 small, smart goals that you can implement based on your lifestyle. So SMART, we've had a video on this before, but SMART means specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time sensitive. So you want to make sure that whatever goals you set are all of those things. You want it to be specific, because if it's vague or kind of a broad goal, it's not easy to track and it's not easy to accomplish or reach because it's so broad. Like, I want to lose weight. Okay, that's good. But how about I want to lose 2 pounds or a couple inches or something in a specific time period? It has to be measurable. So again, it can't be too broad. Otherwise, you won't be encouraged when you meet the goal. It's important that you're able to measure and make sure you're hitting your goals in a realistic sense. It has to be attainable. So if you go from eating out every night to saying, I'm never eating out again, I'm cooking all of my meals from now on, that's probably not an attainable goal for you. It's also probably not realistic, because we are creatures of habit. And if we set a goal that's not attainable or realistic, we're going to probably fail, and then we'll stop completely. So we want to make sure that it's attainable and realistic, and also time sensitive. So at the end of 1 month or 2 months or 3 months or whatever time period you choose, you want to make sure that you can look back and check and see, like, did I reach that goal? And if not, that's okay. But am I getting closer, or do I need to change the goal to make it more attainable or realistic? Just a reminder that life change is what we're looking for, just small changes in our lifestyle. We're not trying to get you on a diet. We're not trying to cut out all of your favorite things. We're trying to just make small changes that can have a bigger impact later on in your journey. These changes should be sustainable, not something that you do for 2 weeks and then stop. And they should be pretty conservative, because we're not trying to change everything right now. We want to make sure that it's just something that can be small, sustainable, and that usually means it's conservative as well. So I thought of some examples just to kind of put this into practice, because I can say all those things about your SMART goals, but what does that actually look like? So maybe if you're a big soda drinker, and let's say you have 2 a day, 1 with lunch, 1 with dinner, or maybe 3, in the afternoon, maybe, hey, Grammy Pat, no, I'm not talking to you. Maybe instead of saying I'm not drinking soda anymore, instead of that, let's see, I drink 2 sodas every day. So instead of saying cutting it out completely, let's go from 2 to 1, because that's still a big difference in your life. So 2 to 1, and then from there, maybe 1 every day to 1 every other day. It doesn't have to be a crazy change that you're making. Any changes are going to be beneficial for you. So try to focus on that. Don't bite off more than you can chew. That's kind of funny because it's about food, but another good maybe goal for you is if you're a big snacker and snacking seems to be a problem, instead of saying I'm never snacking again, exactly, Susan, it's still 50% of what you're doing. Instead of like just snacking to snack, maybe you portion out your snacks this week. Maybe you try to find a bowl or a plate that you can portion out a 1 cup serving, instead of just eating out of the bag. That can make a big difference. Or maybe you are great at cooking at home, but maybe some of your recipes use a lot of heavy cream, or I don't know, a lot of salt, or just things that might not be as healthy for you. Maybe this week you just try a lighter version of one of the recipes you love. Just trying to find a healthy swap, adding an extra vegetable serving in there instead of something that's not so good. So all of these things, I hope it's not overwhelming. Your goals shouldn't be overwhelming. So try to find those small changes that can make a big difference. So we talked about first, trying to make sure that we're not your cream in moderation. Remember, it's just small things. So first we checked for outright or any blatant nutrient deficiencies, and that's where a dietitian is really helpful. And then secondly, choosing 1 or 2 smart, sustainable, conservative goals to get you started based on your current lifestyle. And then my third point is just to remember that your nutrition needs to match your lifestyle and your goals. I was talking to Zach about this FAQ this week, and he just wanted to remind you that just like fitness, how we need an individualized plan for each person that comes into the gym, nutrition's the same thing. You're not going to find a blanket diet that works for your lifestyle, because you're not every other person on the internet. So just remember that your nutrition is going to look different than other people, and that's because your needs are going to be different. And I mean, you're just your own person, and so there's no way that you can say, I'm going to follow this diet to a T, and that's going to work for me because it worked for my neighbor. Well, maybe it did work for your neighbor and it worked really well, but you are not your neighbor, and so you have to find what works for you and your lifestyle. Um, back in, I don't even remember what month it is. I don't even know what month it is now. But a couple months ago, we did our Breaking Down Fad Diets workshop. And that was really fun. We just talked about kind of different diets that are popular right now and kind of, are there good ones? Are there bad ones? So I made a little checklist for that workshop. Just if you're starting a diet or if you're trying to make changes in your life, kind of ask yourself these questions. And then if any of them are a yes, then maybe we need to rethink your meal plan. So bear with me. I'm going to ask the questions out loud and then kind of in your mind think, well, yes or no, or yes or no. Okay. So first, am I waiting for the day that this diet is over? Are you following a plan that you just can't wait for the end of? Well, if that's a yes, then maybe we should rethink it. Do I find myself dreaming about forbidden foods? If you're going to bed and your dreams are full of chocolate cake and ice cream, we need to find a meal plan that maybe incorporates those in moderation, of course. Am I eliminating an entire food group? If that's happening, then you probably need to rethink your meal plan. Is it sustainable? We talked about it before. Is it something that you could see yourself doing in the long term? If not, then let's rethink it. Do I look forward to meal times in a healthy way? Some people are so hungry in between their meals because they're either not eating the nutrient, energy dense foods that we want, or they're just not eating enough where they're virtually starving in between their meals. Did I go crazy or binge or something like that before starting your meal plan? Because if you did that, that's a sign that maybe your meal plan is too restrictive. And will I binge as soon as I'm finished this meal plan? So all of those questions are kind of a good gauge to see if maybe your meal plan is not matching your lifestyle and it's not matching your goals. Because it's important to find something that's not a diet, just lifestyle modifications that you can do in your life to meet your goals. Nutrition shouldn't be overwhelming. It shouldn't be intimidating, and it shouldn't be unattainable. And so my hope for you, we can do it together if you want, but hopefully in this talk, maybe you got a couple ideas. But nutrition shouldn't be something that you feel like is way over your head that you can't understand, because I really believe that nutrition should be something that's practical and something that's attainable for you. And so if you have any questions, you can message me or comment them in the video. But yeah, we just want to make sure that you're starting on a good foot. So if you've never tried to make any nutritional changes in your life, we want to make sure that you have a healthy beginning to your nutrition journey, and not something that's you're going to fall off the wagon. And but I'm so glad that you guys tuned in. I love talking to you. And if you have any just questions or concerns or anything like that, just let us know. But until then, stay safe, wash your hands, and stay healthy. It was good to talk to you. Bye.